Hi everyone, my name's Irene Brown and this is a presentation on the e-learning system, Introduction to Clicker Training, that I created for HCI 520, Learner-Centered Design, in spring of 2014. So this is the home page we're looking at right now. Basically the system consists of a series of HTML pages with pictures, videos, and keywords displayed as necessary. There's also a pre-learning test and post-learning test that users will take as they go through it, so we can find out kind of what their knowledge is going into it, as well as what they've learned at the end. So this is the home screen. People would click the continue button once they've heard the audio narration, which we'll talk about in a minute, to continue. We won't look at all the screens, just since this is only a 5-minute presentation, but we'll go over a couple different ones. Here's an example of one of the screens. This is sort of a pre-training thing to let people know what a clicker is if they're not yet familiar. Each screen, each page has a narration using the modality principle that will play as soon as the page is loaded, so we can take a look at that just as sort of a little example.
For example, if you're trying to teach a dog to sit, the moment his backside touches the ground, you should click and immediately give him a treat.
So that's just part of the narration. Obviously, it would be more in context if we were going through the whole system in real time. But that's one page, just to give you an example of having a one simple picture, the keyword, and then the narration. Also, another screen, same thing. Got the main idea up here, but not a whole lot of text, a picture, and then the audio. So the person would continue on. I did use video in some of the pages where it was needed. We can take a look here. There's a narration. And for any of these, the person can go through and control whether they want to hear it again or pause or whatnot.
Catching involves waiting for the animal to perform the desired behavior and then clicking when they do. This method is ideal for behaviors dogs often do on their own without being prompted, such as lying down. If you want to teach your dog to lie down on command using this strategy, watch him and wait until he lies down on his own. The instant his belly touches the floor, click, treat, and repeat. This video demonstrates. Yes.
Okay, so that's one example of a video, and then finally the person would continue on to review the different strategies that we talked about. They saw videos and examples for all of them, and then finally the post-learning survey, same thing, they would complete that and be finished. So just to talk a little bit more about what went into this when I was designing it, definitely the principle of modality, like I mentioned, just very minimal text and actually narrating the information. Multimedia, we've got pictures as well as words here to make it a little bit more interesting and help people learn better. Video versus images. As we read, sometimes static images can be better for people's learning, but in this situation, because it involves sound and timing, which are two things that really are best communicated through video, I thought it was necessary to use that so that people can see how important the timing of the clicks is. And actually see it happen in real time. I used a conversational style in the narration. It's not overly personal, but it's friendly, and it uses words like we and you, so the person feels a little more engaged in kind of a more social dialogue. The pages are broken up into segments. As we see, you can digest a little bit of information and hear some narration and look at a picture before clicking the continue button when the user's ready to move on to the next thing. User control definitely was important here, so like I mentioned, the user can listen to an audio segment over or continue whenever they're ready. Examples, definitely tried to use lots of examples of what I was talking about in terms of the techniques you can teach a dog using those three principles. And then contiguity would be the last thing. As you can see here, you can see pretty much everything on one page, no need to really scroll up and down. You can get to everything right there, so that the user is not having to refer back to the pictures or back to the keywords. They can just see everything in one shot. And just to wrap up for the evaluation portion of it, I had 10 participants. People did okay on the pre-test, but by the post-test, everybody was getting pretty good scores. So there are a couple things I think I'd tweak if I were going to continue working with this study, but overall it went well. We had an effect size of 2.3371, which is pretty significant, meaning people learned a lot. And then the statistical significance was 0.002, meaning that there's a good chance that it was not just due to chance. So that pretty much wraps everything up in this short period of time we have to talk about it. Thanks so much for listening.